Greetings, Demon and Demonettes. Welcome to the Santa Fe High School video tutorial on selecting and submitting your course request within PowerSchool. Every 9th through 11th grader at Santa Fe High School will have the opportunity to submit their course requests in PowerSchool from February 25th to March 6th. If a student procrastinates and delays and does not get those course requests submitted between February 25th and March 6th, they run the risk of having their schedule built at the end of this process with whatever sections are available at that time. So to ensure that your program of study does include classes you truly want to study, it's imperative that you get your course request submitted in PowerSchool between February 25th and March 6th. The first thing we need to do to be able to select and submit course requests is to log into our PowerSchool account. If you do not remember your PowerSchool login information, please visit with your grade level counselor to obtain that information. I'm going to go ahead and click into this account now. If you've logged into your PowerSchool account before, you'll recognize the home page. It's simply a quick lookup which contains your overall grades thus far at Santa Fe High School and your attendance record as well. What we're interested in are the links on the left-hand side of the page, and you'll see there are various different links available to you, such as grade history, teacher comments, etc. The link we need to click on to select and submit course requests is the class registration link, which I currently have highlighted in blue. I'm going to go ahead and click on that link now. When the class registration page loads, you'll notice that there are groupings of classes by specific content areas. The first four groupings are your academic cores: language arts, mathematics, science, and social studies, and then the last two course groupings have to do with your elective selections. For the majority of these groupings, you will only be able to select and submit one course request. For example, for mathematics, you can only take one class next year within your math schedule for mathematics, so therefore you may only select and submit one course request from the mathematics grouping to be included in your schedule for next year. The exception to this will be the alternate elective choices. Here you'll be asked to choose a minimum of 3 different classes and a maximum of 5 classes to use as alternate elective placements as we build your schedule. The next thing you need to realize is that for the academic cores, language arts, mathematics, science, and social studies, and for the advanced elective classes such as welding 2 or studio art, you must first have obtained a teacher course recommendation before you can select and submit a course request for those groupings. So if my mathematics teacher did not submit a course recommendation for me, then I cannot select and submit a course request from this grouping. So the first thing you're going to want to do when you get to the class registration page is access each of the courses available within these groupings to determine if your teachers have provided you with course recommendations for each of those groupings. If you're missing a teacher course recommendation, say from science, visit with your current science teacher and request that they complete the course recommendation for you ASAP. Okay, the first course grouping I'm going to go ahead and access is the language arts grouping. To view the courses available, you need to click on the pencil icon located on the right hand side of the course group. So as I click on the pencil for the language arts group, I notice my language arts courses appear. In most cases, there are multiple pages to these course menus, if you will. So make sure you scroll to the bottom and click on the next available pages to access all the courses contained within that course group. And what I notice is I do not have any course recommendation for language arts available. So therefore I cannot select any of these courses and submit them as a course request for next year. If I were able to select a course request, it would have a little box to the left hand side of the course title. And in most cases, your teacher course recommendations will appear at the very top of page 1. So because I do not have a language arts course teacher recommendation, I need to visit with my language arts teacher and ask that they complete that course teacher recommendation ASAP so I can complete this process. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel out of the language arts grouping. I'm going to skip mathematics and go ahead and go to science. Again, to access the courses for that group, I'm going to click on the pencil icon. And what I notice is I have 2 courses on the top of page 1 that are recommended to me by my current science teacher, Mr. Bushman. So Mr. Bushman is recommending me to take either forensic science or physics. And I know I can select these courses because they're bold, but also they have that box to the left of the title. As I scroll down to the rest of the courses available within the science grouping, there are no boxes available to select them. So for example, for AP Chem, I don't have a little box here to check on, nor do I have that for biology. Again, there are multiple pages. You may want to scroll through and make sure there aren't other classes available for you to select on the other pages. And there are not. So I'm going to go back to page 1. So for my science course recommendation, I have forensic science or physics. I need to decide which one of these I would like to select and submit my science course request. Remember, I can only select one of these because I can only be in one science class for next year. If I'm not sure which one I want to select, maybe I'm on the fence and I'm going back and forth between these two, I would go back to Mr. Bushman and ask some clarifying questions about these classes, and perhaps Mr. Bushman would direct me to the teacher of physics or forensic science so I can get some more clarification. When I'm ready to make my science course selection, I go ahead and just click on the box to the left of the course title. So for this case, I'm going to go ahead and select physics. So notice I checked the box and it highlighted the course in blue. Next thing I need to do is scroll to the bottom and click on OK to capture that course request. Between February 25th and March 6th, this window will be open, so I can go back in and modify my selections if I feel that's necessary. So if I wanted to, a couple days from now, I could log back into my PowerSchool account, click on that class registration icon, and then if I wanted to change my science course selection, I would simply click on the pencil icon for the science grouping of courses, and that would come back up on the screen. I would come on over to the forensic science, for example, if I wanted to make that change, and click on that course. Now notice forensic science is highlighted in blue and physics is not. I scroll down to the bottom and I click on OK, and now my science course selection has changed from physics to forensic science. So between February 25th and March 6th, you do have an opportunity to go back in and modify or edit any course selection that you made and submitted as a course request. If I go to social studies, the next course grouping, I click on the pencil icon. There's one course on the top of page 1 that I can select as my social studies class for next year, and that is AP US History. So I'm assuming I would have had a conversation with Mr. Cruz about the rigor and expectations of an AP level class such as AP US History. If not with Mr. Cruz, then I would have spoken with a teacher of one of the sections of AP US History to get that information. So to capture that course request, I'm going to click on the box to the left. Again, notice I can't select any other classes because they don't have the box to the left available. And the reason you can't select those classes is you did not obtain a teacher course recommendation to do so. Scroll to the bottom, click on OK, and you've captured your US History course recommendation. Next up is the elective course groupings. The first one is your first elective choice. Your first elective choice is your must-have. It's the elective you truly want to have in your schedule. Santa Fe High just won't be the same if you didn't get that first elective choice. You're only going to select and submit one course request as your first elective choice, and to access those, again, we click on that pencil icon. And on the top of page 1, I notice there are several elective classes that were recommended to me by my teachers. I have a recommendation for AP Art History, AP Human Geography, AP Psychology, German 3, and ProStart 2. I am not obligated to select any of those as an elective course request. Just because a teacher gave you a course recommendation for an advanced elective doesn't necessarily mean you have to go ahead and follow through and select that. If I want to, I could choose different level 1 electives as my first elective choice. For example, notice Art Draw Paint 1, Bakery 1. These all have boxes next to them that I could select because they're level 1 electives. Level 1 electives do not require a teacher course recommendation. And if I scroll through a couple more pages here at the bottom, there are more level 1 electives that I can go ahead and select. And if I get deeper into the pages, I'll notice I'm back into advanced level electives that require a teacher course recommendation for me to select those. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to that first page. And I'm going to go ahead and select Bakery 1 as my first elective choice. So I put a check in the box and it highlighted in blue. I scroll down to the bottom of my screen and I click OK. Now, if you're an AVID student, I wouldn't select AVID as your first elective choice because you're kind of just wasting it, because in AVID, you're placed in there automatically if you've been approved for placement via the interview and selection process, or you're a returning AVID student. So don't bother using AVID as a first elective choice. use it for another elective area. The last grouping are your alternate elective choices. Here we have to select a minimum of 3 classes and a maximum of 5. When we build your schedule, our first goal is to give you your first elective choice, build your academic cores, your language arts, math, science, and social studies classes, and then lastly, we build your schedule using whatever alternate electives are available and best fit in your schedule. So to access the alternate elective choices, I'm going to click up on that pencil icon, and you'll notice the course menu screen is exactly the same as it was for your first elective choice. The courses the teachers have recommended for the first elective choice are here in this menu as well. Again, you're not obligated to select those. Some advice: I wouldn't select an alternate elective that you've already picked as your first elective choice. For example, my first elective choice was Bakery 1. I'm not going to go ahead and click that as an alternate because then it kind of cancels out that selection. So for this grouping, I'm just going to randomly pick some electives here. Let's say I want to take German 3 because I want to complete a minimum of 3 years of my foreign language study. I'm going to go ahead and collect Art, Draw, Paint 1. I'm going to go to the second page and I'm going to go ahead and select Documentary and Journalism. I need a minimum of 3 and a maximum of 5. If I only selected 2 courses in this grouping, a message would come up telling me to pick some additional courses. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll to the bottom and then click on OK to collect those courses. So you'll notice I have my science, social studies, my first elective choice, and my alternate choices made. Remember, I couldn't select a language arts class because my teacher for language arts hadn't made a course recommendation for me. So I need to go talk to that teacher. As soon as you realize you don't have a teacher course recommendation, you might as well stop this process and visit with those teachers and obtain those recommendations. Because as you'll notice, if I hit submit here with an incomplete selection of classes, it's going to tell me that I'm missing some classes for language arts and mathematics, and therefore my submission had failed. So again, as I advised you at the beginning, when you get to this screen, click on the course menus and make sure you have at least one teacher course recommendation for each of the groupings so that you can complete the process and submit these classes. Hope you found this video tutorial useful. Best of luck in selecting your courses. If you have any questions, again, please visit with your teachers, grade level counselors. They're great sources of information. Thanks a lot.